Hello folks, Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here for another Legacy video. Today we're going to be playing with Lucas B's Minotaur deck list. So I played Minotaurs, oh geez, maybe 6 months or a year ago at this point. It's been a while, and we played a red-white version. In case you've never played with a Minotaur deck before, the entire reason to want to do something like this is because of Didgeridoo, which is sort of like a weird ether vial for Minotaurs. It's 1 mana to put it into play, and then for 3 mana you can put a Minotaur permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield. So the idea is we play Didgeridoo on turn 1, and then using something like either an Ancient Tomb or a Chrome Mox or a Spirit Guide, we activate it on turn 2, and then we put in something really big and dumb, like a 6/6 that grants you extra combat steps. So it's pretty good. Essentially, the difference between this Minotaur deck and the one that I played previously is that this deck can take advantage of Urza's Saga. Now, Urza's Saga, in addition to just being like a big dumb card that's very strong with Ancient Tomb, also can go and fetch up your Didgeridoo, which is maybe something you weren't expecting to do with your Didgeridoo, but here we are. And it can also find us a Shadow Spear if we need to gain some life by attaching that to our big Minotaurs, or it can find a Curse Scroll, which is a card that often has a place, or maybe used to have a place, in decks like Pox that were looking to drag the game on for a long time after locking the opponent out with a card like Chalice of the Void. Now, of note here, Chalice of the Void and Didgeridoo are at odds with each other. You know, this is kind of a one or the other thing, but hopefully you don't end up with both of them in your hand, or if you do, you can play the Didgeridoo first and then the Chalice afterwards. There is a non-Minotaur creature in this deck. There is a Goblin Rabblemaster. Sometimes you need to just go and get your opponent dead, and it's nice to have a 3-drop of some kind to go towards that purpose. Because we're playing Urza's Saga, we probably don't want to be playing with the Blood Moon effects that traditionally are seen in this shell. And then afterwards, we have a bunch of big Minotaurs. I'm just going to kind of highlight each of these here. We have a 5/4 Trampler. When it deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, you can discard any number of cards, you draw that many cards, and then you get that much red mana. Then we have Sethron, the General. Whenever it or another non-token Minotaur enters the battlefield, you get a 2/3 Minotaur token, and it has an ability for 3 mana to give your Minotaurs +1/+0, Menace, and Haste. There's Neheb the Eternal, which has a Flicked 3, so if it gets blocked, your opponent loses 3 life. And at the beginning of your second main phase, you get a red mana for each life your opponent's lost this turn. Then there's Moraug, or Fury of Akuum. Each creature you control gets +1/+0 for each time it's attacked this turn, and landfall, you get an additional combat phase. I don't think I need to tell you, that's pretty sick. As far as the sideboard of this deck goes, there's a lot of things that you would traditionally see in a red prison shell. The Pyroblast and Red Elemental Blasts deal with things like Uro that slip through the cracks in game 1, a little bit of extra removal, and then a few pieces of hate for opposing combo decks. Notably here, we're not usually... These sorts of decks usually play Leyline of the Void, but this one is opting instead to play a Relic of Progenitus and Grafdigger's Cage because of how well those cards play with Urza's Saga. I think this league is going to be a lot of fun. It'll probably be really high variance, but when we do something powerful, it will be really powerful. If you're new here, please consider subscribing, or if you're a regular and you're lurking and you're not subscribing yet, please consider subscribing. I'm, slowly working my way towards 10K, and I think I probably will have rounded the corner on 8K by the time you all watch this video. I'm gonna see if I can hit 10K towards the end of the year. My good friend Brian at Bosch and Roll is rounding the corner on 10K itself, and I'm looking to catch up. Full disclosure here, I had a COVID booster shot earlier today, so I think I'm good to record this, but my arm hurts a little bit, and I got a little fuzzy and tired the last time I had a vaccine shot, so we'll kind of see how things go, but I think it's fine. Let's battle. Okay, this opening hand is immediately going to show a difference between traditional, like, red Stompy and this deck. So this is an amazing hand in a traditional, like, red prison, red aggro sort of deck, because it has 3 mana on turn 1. And if we look at our threats here, they cost 5 and 6 mana. This hand unfortunately does nothing and has to go back, despite having a great mix of lands and spells. This second hand is going to be a keep, and we're hoping that Chalice of the Void is good in this matchup. If it looks like, based on turn 1 from my opponent, that Chalice of the Void is not going to be good, I can hope that a turn 2 Rabble Master is going to be good instead. Notably, I don't feel like just leading on a Rabble Master wins the game quite as much as it used to, because there's more sort of ancillary life gain in the format with things like Uro around. And Prismatic Ending is also absolutely everywhere. And when your opponents have a high density of removal spells in their deck, you're not just going to win the game on the back of one creature. Something that we've talked about a lot on the Eternal Glory podcast, and we just put out an episode on Prismatic Ending, is how much Prismatic Ending has just like changed the dynamic of Aether Vial matchups, and it's just like not safe anymore to just expect to win the game with the Chalice of the Void. And it's not just Prismatic Ending doing that, it's also things like Force Litigation as well. So we're going to toss back, I think, the 5-drop here. Because right now it doesn't look like we're going to be doing any cheating of Minotaurs this game. It looks like I'm going to have to hard cast this. Okay. This could be a lot of things. If it's something like Elves, I might get a free roll off this Chalice. Okay. I think we're going to hope that it's Elves and not something like a Maverick sort of greens on deck instead. And we're going to do this thing and hope that it wins me the game. If it doesn't win me the game, life is pretty rough here. Tundra. Okay, we're playing against like a 4-color loam deck of some kind, which is very not good for me. Because that means like my Chalice of the Void is absolute poop here. And realistically, we've probably already lost this game just based on the matchup. Like we were hoping to get paired against like combo. Okay. All right. No Dryad Arbor attack. Interesting. You're not going to like crop rotation into my Chalice of the Void, so I'm not sure why you didn't take the 1 point of damage there. Get in there, Goblin Token. What the fuck? That is literally a free block. You have a 1/2. Okay, alright. It's going to be one of those rounds where I get angry, isn't it? Okay. So, my opponent has missed a point of damage and allowed me to hit in 1 point of damage that I did not deserve and keep a token around. Based on the combination of those two things, plus my opponent's clock, like just how long it is taking them to do stuff, I think they are probably a new player to Legacy. It might not matter here. Like, my opponent just gets to wasteland me, and I'm never going to get to cast these. Oh my god, they're not going to wasteland me. They're going to activate Elvish Reclaimer instead. Holy shit. Are you going to wasteland me in my draw step after you allowed me to untap my lands and potentially cast something like an Abrade? You sure are. You sure are. Yeah. I have no ability to read this player and tell what they're doing, like, because they're a couple levels below me here. So I have no idea what the fuck happens if I attack in. Like, do they double block? I don't know. I guess, like, let's find out. Yield to that. Send them. Now they have figured out that they can block a 1/1 token. Oh. Gonna go block with the Dryad Arbor. Nope. Okay. I get in for 5. They're gonna go to 14. I need to play this land. Realistically, it probably doesn't do me a lot of good because I think a reasonable player would dredge this life from the loam and then wasteland me to just keep me from casting anything relevant ever again. Okay. That dredges a new life from the loam. It also finds Caracas, which is a huge pain in the ass for me. Okay, my opponent just opted to return 1 land here, keeping the Caracas in graveyard for the Elvish Reclaimer count. They're not attacking in. Again, you can just wasteland on your turn. It's fine. Alright. Kind of set on the same course here. Send them. Yep. I was just gonna repeat the same line as last turn, take 5 more damage. So next turn, that thing is likely to be able to outpace my Goblin Rabble Master. And if they played differently, it could have this turn as well, if they had just activated the Elvish Reclaimer. Alright, I gained some information here. I learned that Urza's Saga is in my opponent's deck since I'm seeing that Shadow Spear. It feels like they're going to cast Life from the Loam and make their Elvish Reclaimer smaller. Yep. Alright, I can't cheat the Didgeridoo into play due to Chalice of the Void. My opponent does have lines where Elvish Reclaimer trades for Goblin Rabblemaster this turn. But I basically have no agency in my actions right now. I'm just going to turn these creatures sideways and make my opponent figure out something that beats me. Like, they can block and then activate this. They could wasteland their own stuff. They've got plenty of options. Okay. All right, they are junking the Dryad Arbor there, which I don't think is optimal. That's not bad, though. All right, and I'll pass the turn and continue to do nothing. Okay, they have something big and dumb. Okay, this can just be an Endurance, which is bigger than most of my stuff here. Or a Knight of the Reliquary, sure, that's fine as well. Alright, a strong showing from the deck here. I don't think I concede yet. Like, life is awful, I have no lands, and I have to draw basic mountains in order for things to be good. But, like, my opponent is not playing optimally, they're missing points of damage, they're making mistakes. There's a world where I can still bring this back. It's an unlikely world. But, like, for example, if my opponent Prismatic Endings away this Chalice of the Void, things actually get a lot better for me. Okay. Cool. Cool. I also just have no idea why my opponent isn't going on the offensive here. I am so far fucking gone here. Sure. Okay, why do we need this? Like, that's fine, but, like, attacking last turn plus attacking this turn probably just would have killed me as well. Yeah, especially if they had that wasteland already. Alright. GG's. Okay. These need to come out. Relic is okay. Needle is okay. A Braid's okay. Dead Gone's okay. I'll probably play Dead Gone for sure. Both the Braids. Let's see if we can get this Pithing Needle in here too. Pithing Needle's probably better than Curse Scroll. Let's try this. Alright, I need one more mana to do everything that I want to do here. Like, I can play the turn 1 Didgeridoo, but without a land, I can't actually activate it. I think this one goes back. This has a Didgeridoo on turn 1 and a turn 2 activation. This will be a keep, and I think I'll just throw back the Shadow Spear. I don't want the colorless thing right now. I am not going to play the Chrome Mox on turn 1. I'm going to go Mountain Didgeridoo. It's my preference that I just, like, draw, like, an Ancient Tomb or something like that, or, like, a Spirit Guide that I can imprint so I don't have to give up either one of these. I do have to start thinking about, like, which one of these I want if I only get one. I think it's Sethron. I think Sethron is just better than this other one. They don't really have anything to do with the mana. Urza's Saga will be a thing to do with my mana in future turns. That's pretty good. Alright, so let's play this. Play this. Imprint this and just confirm speed. Yeah, this just happens. Alright, good stuff. Okay. That's fine. We'll activate this now then. It's obviously good. And now I get my Minotaur friend. And I can just activate this thing's ability to give this stuff menace. Okay. This is a pretty quick clock. It's +1/+0 and menace. Haste. Yeah, good stuff. Things get a little weird if I draw a Minotaur right here. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I'll just attack normally. And then I'll put this in. I don't need the mana this turn for anything. I could activate this, but that doesn't actually do anything. Send them. The fact that these are legendary are a little awkward because my opponent can, like, use Elvish Reclaimer's crop rotation ability to get a Caracas, and then I lose just absolutely so much ground. Or they can just naturally have the Caracas in hand. Fuck. Alright. So my mana is spoken for, trying to undo the damage of Caracas. But that's pretty cool. Because this re-triggers. maybe this whole Araka's situation is not quite as bad as I thought it was. Ooh. I think I just put whatever Minotaur my opponent bounces back in play. That gives me another 2/3. I think that's just better than Goblin Rabblemaster. Send him. So that's fine. So now, I guess I can go to combat damage here. And I'll activate the Didgeridoo. Put in the Neheb. Get a new Minotaur. Then in the second main phase, this is going to trigger now. I will get 8 red mana. I will use that to cast the Goblin Rabblemaster. Good stuff. We could activate this thing's ability a couple of times for show, but I don't think we need to do that. Also, my opponent is in very real danger of timing out if this goes to 3 games. They are down 7 minutes. Like, if we get into any sort of real grindy game, they're going down. Sure, drop rotation is fine. I think I already beat something like a Tabernacle. Oh, okay, this is gross. Do I pay for Rabblemaster? How many lands are in their graveyard? 3. Okay. Yeah. And then I will pay for 2 of the actual factual Minotaur tokens. And the rest of these can just get sacrificed. Okay. Other Rabblemaster is okay. It might allow us to get in like the last point of damage if things get a little weird. Send them. So opponent will need another piece of interaction here if they block Goblin Rabblemaster. Okay, yeah. Good stuff. I don't think anything that I saw here makes me want to change any of my sideboarding at all. This hand only has 2 mana sources. This needs to go back, despite the fact that it has the Didgeridoo. I can't actually activate it. This hand is great. I will keep this. We'll throw back one of either Dead Gone or a Braid. Neither one is particularly great right now. I think I'm going to keep the Dead Gone. It's an out to a Merit Lodge if that's something that I end up needing to do. This hand is going to be extremely aggressive. And I'll have a couple different ways to play it. Okay. Sure. I am screwed if they have the Life from the Loam. I'm not screwed, although that is quite good. Mountain is quite good on my end. I think I need to get this damage going based on the texture of this hand. I think this just needs to be my threat. And I just put as much pressure on my opponent as quickly as possible to mitigate the power of their Sylvan Library. We'll see how much damage my opponent ends up doing to themselves with this library. I am absolutely terrified of them finding a Life from the Loam. Like, if they can answer my Rabblemaster and then Life from the Loam Wasteland lock me, I am probably done. Alright, they are opting to take some damage off their Sylvan Library here. So hopefully that means that they have something to do with it. Okay. Yep, that's horrifying for me. Alright, yeah, this one's probably over in favor of my opponent. I have these Urza Sagas, but my opponent is going to get so many looks for a Life from the Loam, which will just bust this game just absolutely wide open. There's a very good chance that if I win this, it's because my opponent times out, and that will be miserable. Oh my gosh, that is so aggressive. Okay. Sure. Okay, so that's going to be a knight, which is big. I have an answer to it in hand. I can bounce it, but I'm probably not going to get to a reasonable amount of mana that allows me to cast that. Okay, never mind. I will. Basics OP. The issue here is that I probably have to end up using Dead Gone, or specifically the Gone side, to answer a Merit Lodge. Just kind of based on my opponent's play patterns from before, they didn't attack when attacking was like very good and reasonable. So I think they're just viewing Merit Lodge as their way to hit me for 20 in one go. So that's where I'm guessing this is gonna go. Okay, or they can just like naturally draw it. Alright, so we'll see if my opponent knows to play around Dead Gone. Alright, so this currently does not produce mana. Okay, now it produces mana. I'm safe again. Okay. Yep. Alright, so I need my opponent to have sideboarded out Sajiri Step for me to do the thing that I need to do here. The other thing I could do is, like, wait to see if my opponent activates their Knight of the Reliquary, but that's such a gamble. I don't think it's gonna work. Alright. Seems like they have it. In which case, unfortunately, I have to concede. Alright. GG's. I mean, my deck kinda pooped itself. I couldn't capitalize on my opponent's mistakes, because I couldn't cast my spells. There comes a time in every man's life where he has to decide whether or not he wants to keep a hand that goes Chalice of the Void on 1 into Chalice of the Void on 2, deal 6 damage to himself, and then not be able to play any of his threats. I've made my choice. Have you? Alright, it resolves. Okay. Cool. A good sign for me. Classic. Cast this on 2. I hurt myself today. Oh, Cycle Street Wraith. So we could be looking at a Doomsday deck here. I'm gonna get dazed. I am gonna get dazed. Alright, so the good news is that my opponent will have to get to black, black, black naturally without using cantrips in order to cast a Doomsday, and then they have to win using a Doomsday line that does not actually use any 1-drops at all. So maybe I have time, but my opponent could start to work towards going off as soon as next turn. Alright, do you just have it in hand? Okay. Same question. Alright. So, again, I have 7 cards in hand and I can't cast any of them. Deck is putting up a strong performance so far. Oh my god. We'll discard a Minotaur. Alright, so Didgeridoo cheats in Minotaurs. What cheats in Didgeridoo? I need that right now. Yep. Go to discard. Go to discard. All the cool kids are doing it. Yeah. Okay, this is a red land. Alright, cool. Next turn. Next turn I can cast 1 of the cards in my hand because the rest of them have red pips. Not great for me. Ooh. That just straight up a cantrip. That was straight up just a cantrip. Okay. Let's Rabble Master. I've now dealt 8 damage to myself. See if this gets Force of Willed. It does. Pitching a Ponder that was otherwise dead. I actually don't get to cast that many spells before I just straight up die to my own Ancient Tombs. I also, like, don't exactly have the best sorts of cards for this matchup. Oh god, another Edge of Autumn, just raw cycle. And a Street Wraith. And another Street Wraith. Okay. Oh my god. This is slow, but it's something that could win me the game. All the rest of this stuff is red. I do like the part where my opponent Edge of Autumn themselves twice. Ah, it's a Didgeridoo. Yep. We'll discard one of those. Alright. So I'll activate Urza's Saga, which gives me a token. Down to 10 life. Oh. Do I just cast this on X equals 3? I probably do. So I can opt to get a Didgeridoo into play and, like, actually put some of these Minotaurs in. Where's the thing that gives haste? This. So if I get a Didgeridoo and then pay 3 mana to put that in, 3 mana to activate, that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 damage this turn, shutting off my opponent's fetch lands. So I think I don't make a token here. Then I can play Chalice of the Void for lethal. Dope! Didgeridoo. Put this into play. Yield to that. Okay, nice. I just want to point out that this is turn 12. Okay, cool. Mindbreak traps are playable. Blasts are playable. A lot of this other stuff is pretty questionable. Then again, like, here I am playing the Minotaur deck, so who am I to judge? Okay. let's assume that, like, these two cards are too slow to matter. And, but my chalices are pretty good at slowing my opponent down. I don't know if I'm supposed to play blasts if I want to keep chalice hands. Maybe I just play 3 mind break traps. And then does combat damage to a planeswalker, loot, essentially, or add mana. This one's more hard castable, so let's do this. And then I'm not sure if I'm supposed to play these. Like, they can technically counter the Thassa's Oracle, but they don't do too much if my opponent plays around it. Again, I don't know if my opponent will play around it. I also don't know how many Minotaurs I'm actually, quote-unquote, allowed to cut. I do want to assemble Didgeridoo plus Idiot. Yeah, did it to me. Took 12 turns, but I sure did. Weird game. Let's play the blasts. Let's take out the Nehebs and do these. I still have 21 creatures, and I've left the biggest and scariest of my things. Okay. Turn 1, Urza Saga. Turn 2, Mox Mountain. Activate. Turn 3, activate, pick up a Didgeridoo. This isn't actually all that bad. I don't know that it's all that good, though. I kind of feel like I need an interactive hand when I'm on the draw. Hey, an interactive hand. Keep. And very awkward. Throw back the second Urza Saga. This Chrome Mox can let me do some pretty cool things under some circumstances. Yep, that's fine. And what was that? That was a shuffle. Didgeridoo. Didgeridoo is now not exactly great. I think I want to play out this game with my artifacts rather than my Rabble Master. I'm going to play a Chrome Mox. Dunk the Rabble Master. Play a Didgeridoo, which I will just let counter, like, let it get countered if my opponent has a force. And I will Pyroblast literally anything blue that they put onto their stack that draws a card. That's fine. Yep, that's going down. And this is mostly because I want to use my Urza's Saga mana. I want to use my mana to activate Urza's Saga. And so I don't just want to, like, hold this up indefinitely. That's fine. I am A-okay with that trade. My Urza Saga is going to clock pretty darn quickly. I will make it as a 3-3, then make a 4-4, and then they'll both be 5-5s once the Urza Saga search happens, and I'll have a Didgeridoo. So that if I top deck a Minotaur, we're in good shape. Okay, my opponent has resolved their brainstorm. Let's see if I'm dead. Okay, they're going to use a personal tutor to shuffle here and presumably put a Doomsday on top of their library. Yes, that is indeed what's happening. Okay. All right. Is your last other card Dark Ritual? Because, like, damn, I'm impressed if that's the case. It is. So I would love to draw a Blast. Mind Break Trap is unlikely to do anything. It could. Notably, the Deep Analysis is in exile, so some of the consider-based piles are not going to work. Alright, my opponent is down to 8. Okay. This card doesn't do anything immediately. And we'll see if my opponent can kill me this turn. I don't think so. Alright, so I activate this. So I can get a Didgeridoo and then put this thing into play. I can't activate the ability this turn. I might just be better off making my token here. It just grows this for the immediate future. Play the Didgeridoo. I think this card is probably irrelevant. How does this card work? You may exile. I think I will play this, but not imprint my card. Not imprint. I will hit for 6. If Street Wraith was a part of my opponent's plan, that plan now no longer works. That kills them. Like, we'll see. So, someone is dead in this turn cycle. At a glance, I see 3 Lotus Petals, so this could be like... Okay. Rats. Yeah, I don't have... Okay, so it was multiple Edge of Autumns. Oh, is there Thassa's Oracle? Oh shit, the Thassa's Oracle was the bottom card because the Street Wraith was involved in the pile and I did exactly enough damage to not die. GG's. Holy moly, that was a nail biter. Alright, round 3 opening hand's a little weird. I think I'm supposed to keep this, but there's gonna be a couple vastly different ways for how to play out this hand. And now I know I want to play the hand that goldfishes the fastest. So what is that? We're gonna just play a turn 2 Rabble Master, and then start making Urza Saga construct tokens after that. Mountain this turn. Urza Saga, Spirit Guide, Rabble Master, then make Urza Saga tokens from there. There's also a world where I'd play Urza Saga this turn, Didgeridoo, then play Mountain next turn, Spirit Guide activate Saga. Play Saga. Am I supposed to just ignore all my red cards? Yeah, this might just be Operation Urza Saga. I could buy that. I can also just dump in a Neheb next turn if I want. I guess ideally, made my night. It's for a video to boot. Yeah, the Neheb is interesting. Like, once I can connect with something, the Neheb represents a lot of mana, allowing me to, like, put more into... Oh, Living Wish is interesting. Allowing me to put more mana into something like an Urza Saga or a Didgeridoo. Collector Oof. Spicy. There's so much fucking Urza Saga, holy hell. Okay. Do I just want an Urza Saga token this turn? I think I want to put in Neheb. Then attack for 4, get 4 mana. Use that to power out Rabble Master and like some Didgeridoos and stuff the following turn. Alright, yeah, let's do that. Well, okay, maybe not Didgeridoo activations because like my opponent is about to slam Collector Oof, but like, you know what I mean. Living Wish Cloud Post is kind of wild. Right. Oh, another Living Wish. Oh, please don't have Caracas. If my opponent has Caracas here, I need to just make a token with Urza Saga instead. Wasteland. That's fine. Activate the Didgeridoo. Put in Neheb. Alright, goodbye Urza Saga. Hello, Neheb. Ooh. Okay. So let's just go back for 4. Take that 4 mana. Use 2 of that to just activate this. Which leaves me with 2 mana. Turn that into 3 mana. Turn that into a Goblin Rabble Master. And we'll go ahead and call it a turn there. This is a scary amount of power. We're definitely doing the Minotaur thing this time. We'll also probably pick up a Shadow Spear off my Urza Saga. The life gain might be relevant. Although I think I'm just overrunning my opponent here. There's also like this Collector Oof that may just invalidate a bunch of my artifacts and just turn them into buffs for the construct tokens. Might be another weird game depending on how much interaction my opponent actually has. Tabby. Tabby's rough. Probably just pay for all 3 of the creatures in this turn cycle. Pay for that with Spirit Guide. Pick up 1 Urza Saga. Do the whole shuffle thing with the other. I'm gonna get a bunch of post-combat mana. So I don't need a Chrome Mox or anything. I'll just pick up like a Shadow Spear. Play a land. Oh shit, I should have played that Didgeridoo. Oh, there's more. Sure. Glacial Chasm. Alright, that is a nuisance. Out of spite, of course. We're gonna send them all in. No damage. Second main phase. No mana. Play a Didgeridoo. And my opponent gets to buy a lot of time with this Glacial Chasm here. And unfortunately, the combination of these 2 things is going to just drag me to an absolute standstill. What do I want to keep? Probably want to keep my Construct and my Rabble Master, since the Rabble Master makes extra bodies. And this can be like Caracas away. Yeah. Alright, goodbye to this. The Urza Saga thing happens. What does this read? Prevent all damage that would be dealt to you. Curse Scroll is damage. Curse Scroll is damage. So let's go ahead and Chrome Mox then. The awkward thing here is that like my opponent has a Collector Oof waiting in the wings. Only have 1 mana, so that's not going to do anything. Back out of Spite. Doesn't work. Opponent's down to 9. Fuck. Okay. That's obviously scary for me. Opponent is navigating this really well. So no to the Goblin, yes to the other 2. Okay, and now we're getting to the point where like my opponent could realistically put a creature into play that matters, so I'll stop attacking out of pure spite. Alright, so my opponent has a bunch of things that they could search for here. So for example, they could search for a Thespian stage to keep their like Glacial Chasm lock going. Yep, that is what's happening. Rough. Alright, so they're down to 5. Fuck, they can repeat that cycle too. Absolutely brutal. Alright, didn't draw more land. Send in my little goblin friend. Now, there's also the world where my opponent just like Thespian Stage, copies Cloud Post, lets Glacial Chasm go, and does something big, dumb, and stupid that kills me. Like, that's a world that we could live into. Oh? Okay, Dark Depths just going for a win. So they're gonna copy Glacial Chasm for a turn. Sure. That means that Dark Depths doesn't get copied this turn, though. I might be able to just kill them next time around. Okay, a Chrome Mox. That's actually not bad, because it means that I can straight up just keep my Goblin token as well. I'll play Chrome Mox, put this under that. Get in there for 1. 1. And now my opponent will go ahead and copy. Oh no, they're just saving it. Okay. That's good. Okay, so that'll name Didgeridoo, so I can't do shenanigans, I assume. Yep. Okay. My opponent just goes 2 mana. Copy Dark Depths, and I think I die. I don't think I have any outs to that in my main deck. I can't deal the damage with Shadow Spear to gain the life this turn cycle. Yeah, so I just straight up have no outs to them actually going and making it. Alright, I send in the goblins. Opponent takes no damage, and then they do the whole Merit Lodge thing. My Simian Spirit Guide doesn't save me. Yada, 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 yada. I'll just make sure they keep the right one. Alright, they did it. Alright, and I die there. GG's. Very well navigated on my opponent's end. What do I want to board? I don't really have stuff for this matchup. Like, a Braid's not particularly good. Neither are all these removal spells. Like, I can play a Pithing Needle, which sometimes might impact some of their stuff. It's not amazing. Can stop, like, an Ayavugan or something. I think I'm just gonna, like, board a Dead Gone and probably call that it. Cards aren't super great here. You could also consider playing a Braid for early Elvish Reclaimers, but once they're 3/4s, that doesn't actually kill them anymore. So that's awkward. Let's assume that Curse Scroll is kind of medium and board that. I'm just gonna resubmit this and see if I can kill my opponent. Turn 1 Chalice, turn 2 Neheb. Sure. That seems reasonable. How do I want to do this? From Mox Spirit Guide Cavern this turn, I think. Put that on Minotaur. Play the very anemic Chalice on 1. Like, definitely not, like, what I want to be doing in this matchup. But good enough. Sure. Fuck, Tabernacle. Alright. Cloud Post has appeared. Shadow Spear. Perfect timing. Alright. I have done my big dumb thing. I have made a 5/4 Trampler that does some other stuff on turn 2. And in theory, if I draw a Soul Land, I can also just cheat this into play. I am unsure if I loot this away if I connect with Neheb. I think no. I think I like loot Shadow Spear plus whatever other thing I find. I think I'm gonna loot the cavern. Greedy. but it might result in me getting an extra combat phase if I do that. We'll loot those two. Alright. So I'm not going to get the extra combat phase because I didn't redraw a land. I'm fine with that. Just play this out. That should be good enough to get me lethal next turn, I would think. 11 damage showing and lethal with any land drop. My opponent is thinking really hard about something. Okay, they're just going to constrict my mana. That's totally reasonable. But because I have Neheb, that's actually not all that bad. Alright. Send them. Alright, I'm just going to loot all three of these in an attempt to find a land to get lethal. I did it. So I'll cast a Rabble Master. And then play a land. Get an extra combat step. Taps. Send them. And if my opponent didn't die here, I would get to, like, do the looting thing again, right? Yeah, I would get to do the looting thing again. That was kind of disgusting. I liked that. Let's try to do that again. On the draw, do I want to braid? Like, I think it's reasonable, but I don't think it's insane. I'm going to be mulliganing this opening hand. I need one more mana source in order to, like, produce an early Minotaur that does something cool, and I don't think I'm willing to gamble on that on 7. I might consider keeping something of this quality on 6. This hand is fine. It's not crazy, but it's fine. I just have, like, so little way to interact with my opponents, like Tabernacles and Glacial Chasms and such. Alright. This is a Didgeridoo hand now. Yep. Okay. So we will make this play again. Chalice is not exactly amazing here, but it can stop future Pithing Needles. It can stop Elvish Reclaimers, crop rotations, those sorts of cards. All right. What the hell is this? Sacrifice it, destroy an artifact or enchantment, or when it attacks on the back side. Gross. That's a pretty good card. This is the first time I've seen this one. Oh, and now there's a day-night thing just in play, constantly telling me what it is. Okay. Unfortunately, this will brick wall my Rabble Master. And this card makes me wish I had boarded in a Braids. But I wasn't really anticipating this, obviously. I wonder how much my opponent values my Chalice right now. I assume minimally. And turning this into a 3/3, though, is relatively valuable. I will probably try to just, like, trade my Goblin Rabble Master for this thing. Ooh. Oh shit, hold on. I don't think I want to Dead Gone this thing. I think I'm going to try to trade Rabble Master for it and see how my opponent values this. I'd rather be, like, cracking in with Neheb. Okay, that's fine. My second main phase, I will drop this largish creature. And that holds the ground so that this doesn't actually get to attack in. Now, in my next turn, I would be willing to bounce this and just get in for as much damage as I can. These Glimmer Posts are a little rough. Oh, an attack. Sure. Okay, what is this? Oh my god, do you have Oh. Okay. That was very interesting. Alright, so I put this on Minotaur. I think I'll go ahead and go to my attacks. Crash in. Now, I need to get this out of the way. I would like to just play 2 spells and then kill this. How does this work? Comes day next turn. Alright. This is not my ideal. But the Caracas means that this card isn't great anyway. I can't Chalice on 1 and then play dead. I guess I'll Chalice on 2 and shut off Once Upon a Time. Then my opponent... this is a pain in my ass. Oh my god. Alright, so this at least flips it back. Alright. That's a nuisance. Sure. Now I probably am holding this for Gone. My opponent's going for Thespian Stage. Makes me think that removing this is no longer the most important thing in the world. I don't know if it's because I'm playing a bad deck, or because, like, this card is just good. But this thing is an absolute fucking nightmare for me right now. Just like a weird combination of like being able to kill these persistent artifacts and being able to trade with and outsize my creatures in combat. Yeah, and if this was just a lightning bolt, like, we would be having an entirely different conversation, but it is not a lightning bolt. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I can play this. Really need a land. Now this shit back transforms again. And if I bounce it, it just comes back on the night side as a... If it's already night, does this just come into play as the second side? Or does it require a transform turn? Like, what happens if I bounce this? Fuck this Caracas. Alright, whatever. I'm gonna bounce this. I am in a just absolutely horrific position. Rough. Now I don't get to just go like big Minotaur into land drop for extra combat phase. Yield to that. And this is 6 damage. That's quite good. Then it's 8 damage next turn. I mean, that's nearly lethal, but like now I've exposed myself to Moraug because I was having so much trouble just getting that other idiot out of the way. My opponent can just redeploy it. Just, Alright. Those individual points of life are super relevant right now. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but no land drop to go with them. I have a feeling I'm about to get crop rotation for Glacial Chasm. Or alternatively, just crop rotation for Moraug, and I can die. Alright, my opponent takes it and goes to 2. At this point, I will hold up mana, although I think I am just dead. My opponent having the ability to nuke my Great Furnace was the difference between me winning and losing. I had that one extra... or no, because I would have had enough mana, but I wouldn't have had the land drop. So that's not true. Alright, that is it for me. GG's. I lost this because I couldn't answer whatever the hell that one card's name was cleanly. GG's. Alright, final round here. I have 1 land and nothing crazy. We're going to be mulliganing this, looking for something more stable. This is going to be a keep, and I will throw back one of my 2 redundant legendary creatures. I think I'm just going to play this tapped as the land and not Chrome Mox on turn 1. There's a world where I want to imprint this under the Chrome Mox, but in a format where there's so many like dazes and wastelands and such, I think I just want to like play this as a tapped land while it's not horrific for me to do so. Speaking of daze, I'll be real bad against daze this game. But I think I'm going to ignore it because my lines will work so much better if I ignore it. I'm going to go Saga, from Mox imprint this, and attempt to make a blocker for Ragavan. The reason why I'm willing to jam into daze here is because I have Urza Saga and the mana to funnel into it if things don't work out here. But if my Urza Saga gets wastelanded, I'm absolutely just dead to this Ragavan, and I might concede on the spot. Okay, no immediate wasteland, which is nice. Opponent found my Minotaur. Can I play the land side? How does this work with these cards? I might cast that card. Okay, so they can't do that. Although the phrasing on this card here is can be played this turn. Fuck, come on. Oh, are you fucking serious right now? What? What? Oh, do you have prismatic ending for Chrome Mox too? Okay. Sure. I guess I'll play this one. I'm already super exposed to Wasteland. I don't know. Like, this is going to let me get a card out of this Urza Saga that you could have denied. I don't know that I like that. Like, I understand wanting to, like, try to stick me with the Urza Saga that is going to destroy itself, but this is just going to turn into a Didgeridoo, which is a nuisance and will let me cheat in cards that I could never possibly cast in this matchup. Like, for example, if I top deck a Minotaur this turn, I just get to put it into play. That would have been a great time for me to actually get the thing that punishes my opponent. But no such luck. Oh, could have floated mana and gone for Curse Scroll instead. Good, I should have done that. Well, now that I haven't taken that line, I'm going to pick up Didgeridoo. I don't know. Actually, No, I think it is correct to get the Didgeridoo, because I think with that Urza Saga there, I am just not going to beat the Urza Saga tokens with a Curse Scroll. Like, it can kill the Ragavan, but already the Urza Saga tokens are bigger than Curse Scroll. Yeah, I like getting Didgeridoo. Alright. I am good with my line, although my reasoning for taking it was not necessarily great. Jesus, my opponent could also just cast this. Get 6 power for 5 mana. And they will have the ability to activate that. Gross. Alright, good here. Seems like we're good here. I don't think I'm coming back from this position. I need these cards for Murktide Regent. I need these cards for things that aren't Murktide Regent. I need this card for Murktide Regent. I need this card for everything. That's a billion cards to sideboard. We're probably not going to play Chalice of the Void. And I have to make other decisions from there. I think I had to play one of Curse Scroll or Relic. Not both. Curse Scroll is really only going to kill Ragavan a lot of the time. I think I'm going to take Relic. Murktide is public enemy number 1 here. And if I want to play all of these, how many slots is that? A lot. I don't think I can actually play this many cards. I think I can cut like 4 Minotaurs. And then like not play one of these effects. Maybe like junk 1 Pyroclasm. The Pyroclasm is fine. This has 2 early mana, but can't actually put a threat into play. This needs to be a mulligan. This has a crap ton of early mana, but doesn't actually do anything. Like, I keep this as my hand, and these Spirit Guides, like, fuel an Urza Saga? No. I also don't think I can just, like, keep an Urza Saga hoping to convert it into a Didgeridoo and then put these in. Like, Wasteland is a thing that exists in my opponent's deck. I'm gonna go to 5 instead. Sand sure isn't good. Guess I'm keeping it. Do something like this and this. Play this tapped. And I think I play Chrome Mox prior to it being... No, I don't, because fucking Prismatic Ending is too good. Yeah, we'll wait a turn on that. And then I will play by 4-drop into a Daze and cry myself to sleep when it gets dazed. Okay, sure. I would love to draw like a Goblin Rabble Master, like something that gives me the ability to just like play something proactive around a Daze. Okay, nope. Alright. Cast. I think I need to keep my threats. And I don't have another land, so it's not like I get to play around Daze by waiting for a turn and making another land drop. Yep. So now we're just hoping to like not get wastelanded and draw a land. And my opponent not to have something powerful like a Ragavan. Asking for a lot, and we are also just walking into another Daze, but I don't think we have much of a choice about that. Alright, at least this one got forced instead of dazed. So it was a 2-for-1 instead of a 1-for-1. But now I'm running on empty. Alright, there's a Brainstorm for my opponent to do some selection. Graveyard count is starting to get beefy for something like a Murktide Regent. That could come down next turn. Okay. White. Okay, so that might be good for me. Because now I can just like chill for a while. Rebuild my hand. And both of us have Urza Saga. So this is not just like a free roll for my opponent. I wonder if playing that standstill was a mistake for them. Like, I feel like the game is getting better for me, not worse. Yep, there we go. Good shit. Nice, we did not get wastelanded. Oh yeah, like, opponent, thank you so much. Okay, they found their own. Although, honestly, I think my Urza Saga is considerably better than their Urza Saga. Especially if I draw a land. Like, holy shit, if I draw a land. Alright. So I make my 3-3. Alright, I did not draw a land, unfortunately. Fine. Still very, very good. Alright. I have 4/4s. I do pick up Didgeridoo, right? I do pick up Didgeridoo. Alright. I don't want to crack their standstill. Crash in for 5. And my opponent is potentially dead next turn. Like, I get to put in my 6/6 through standstill. Ooh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so I don't even need to do anything yet. That's fine. I mean, opponent, thank you for giving me like 4 time walks and 3 cards. You can have that, that's fine. I just want to be able to like Pyroblast a like Dress Down or a Murktide Regent. And now I have the land drop for an extra turn. I also have a Pyroclasm, which currently kills my opponent's Urza's Saga token. But the timing would be kind of rough to actually make that happen. Prismatic Ending on my Didgeridoo. Well, I will activate it in response. Okay. I have a Pyroblast for a Stifle. Okay, they do have the Stifle, which I will counter. And I can also pay for a Daze. Alright. I put in this giant creature. And as of right now, this should kill my opponent. Things can happen. Like, this is a 3-3 now. This is boltable now. Alright. Good stuff. I would not have won that without my opponent's standstill. So, shout out to my opponent. This is a 5-4. A 4-6. Everything here except Rabblemaster is lightning bolt proof. But I still think I need Rabblemaster just as something that threatens my opponent quickly. I think I'm good with this. Okay, well, like, maybe I'm not good with it, but, like, it's what I've got to work with. So it's happening. Okay, this is a weird one. So I have a bunch of mana, and I have 2 removal spells. I do not have any threats at all. Is this a keep? I think it is. It is awkward, though. Like, the follow-up question is, like, do I play Urza Saga on turn 1? Because I can, like, use a Spirit Guide to activate it on turn 2. No shuffle on the Ponder. Given that draw, I think I'm willing to do that. Yeah, I think I'm willing to do that. It means I don't have a blast up in this turn cycle, but like Delver is usually not really in these decks anymore. I think that's fine. Just hoping to dodge Wasteland here. Okay, we dodged Wasteland. That's great. Do your thing. Can't be a Murktide this turn, so I'm good. Play a Standstill. Play a fucking Standstill. Do it. A Ragavan. I don't want to try to abrade that. I'm going to do that. Nope, it's just dead. There's no even attempt at having a counterspell there. Alright, so now I play this. And I can use Spirit Guide to activate my Urza Saga. Okay, you have your own Urza Saga. Alright, so I'll activate this. I'll create my monster. Now I will float a mana here. Pick up a Didgeridoo. Increase this to a 3-3. Increase this to a 4-4. Activate a Didgeridoo. Put in this giant bad boy. And crash in for 4. Smells like Swords to Plowshares with this pause, though. Hydroblast. I still hit for 4 because both my lands are artifact lands. My token is currently bigger than my opponent's Urza Saga token. I suspect they don't have counter magic based on previous turns. That, like, they obviously could draw it now or could have drawn it in the previous draw step. Ah, fuck me. Alright. We could also just, like, spike a big Minotaur and everything is dandy. Nice. So I'll put this in at my opponent's end step. I won't play Rabblemaster here. Actually, I could put it in now. Because that gives me 1 more point of power this turn. Yeah? Yeah, that's fine. Turn that into a 5-4 for this attack. Alright, opponent goes down to 10. They'll make their creature. This doesn't trample or anything, does it? Yeah, neither one of these tramples, but I might get 2 combats next turn. My Didgeridoo also might get Pithing Needled here. Or my opponent could, like, grab a Retrofitter Foundry and make some chump blockers. They've got lines. I guess Shadow Spear is also a thing that could happen. Okay, it is Pithing Needle. Cheating in 1/6/6 was bad. The second one might qualify as bullshit. Alright, and my Didgeridoo has indeed been needled. I would love to draw something that lets me take one of these constructs out of the way. Okay. Alright, so my Red Elemental Blast is not really going to do anything right now. I guess we're just playing this into Daze rather than holding up the blast, because if it's a Murktide, I can just kill it on my turn. Okay, yep. I will just go ahead and attack with both of these. If my opponent trades both constructs for this, I think that's a pretty big win for me. Oh, wow. That's quite good for me, unless I get, like, Hydroblasted here. That trades for both of these construct tokens because their size changes after combat. So I deal, they're both 3/3s. I deal 2 to one, 3 to the other. The one with 3 dies, then state-based effects are checked again, and the one with 2 dies. So my opponent probably needs to make a chump blocker here to stay alive, and then they make Retrofitter Foundry. They're unlikely to do anything else that matters in this turn cycle. They'll need another land drop. They'll need, like, land and another Hydroblast, or land and Swords to Plowshares to do anything. Okay. Alright, I mean, that's annoying. A dead gone. If this resolves, my opponent dies instantly. I am fine with going for that. I kind of think they have a Force of Will based on last turn. It could have been a bluff, but they probably actually have it. Just drawing a land here at any point would have made this so much easier. It's like, land means I could, like, Gone plus Red Elemental Blast. Actually, I won't do this. I'm going to play Goblin Rabblemaster and try to get that forced. And try to finish my opponent with Dead Gone next turn. Okay, yeah, there's the Force. Pitching a Force. And this will be a chump block. Alright. And then I can attempt the whole Dead Gone thing next turn. Oh, fuck. God damn it. I'm going to be so sad if I lose this at 2. Okay, sure. Don't know why we did that versus making an Urza Saga construct token, but do your thing. Yeah. I'll use this on my opponent's turn to get rid of this. No, they might not even make that on their turn. They don't have a no, they do have a reason to. Yeah, okay. Alright, so they'll make their construct. I will junk that now. Okay, that worked. My opponent may not have any more targets left. Okay, they have left Soul Guide Lantern in their deck, which probably feels like a mistake to me. But I don't know, they're 75. Okay. I'm just going to get buried by Retrofitter Foundry here unless I draw a threat. Like Goblin Rabblemaster or Urza Saga would be my best draws. And I'll play this Didgeridoo purely so I can have another artifact for Urza Saga. But again, my opponent can make a whole bunch of chump blockers. Okay. I'm also probably at the point where I just, like, Red Elemental Blast any cantrip that comes in. Yeah. Gradesies. I'm just going to stick you with whatever you have. Okay, opponent goes to 1. So now some Goblin Rabblemaster based lines are immediately lethal. So, like, why is my opponent not tracking this for their card? Okay. Well, that is some confidence. Alright, I'll just activate Urza Saga at my opponent's end of turn. Call it good. Sure. I go to 23. Sure. I mean, I will make my large creature that you have to use 2 mana to deal with every turn. I'm good with that. Do I play that as a land? Probably play that as a land. I'll crash in for 5. My opponent will make something with Retrofitter Foundry to block it. We're also getting to the point where a timeout victory is starting to look pretty feasible. My opponent is having to take a lot of actions in order to keep up with what I am doing. Okay, now they're gonna cash that in. That's fine. Yep, this is fine. Like, you will probably time out before you kill me with this one Thopter. Minotaur. Crash in. And if I draw another land so that I can actually play this, it is pretty tempting for me to just, like, jam this and say, like, okay, like, answer this with the 3 cards that you draw or die. Alright. Gonna be a grind. I don't want my opponent to draw Wasteland and destroy this cavern. I'm down to 21. Yeah-huh. Alright. So this one will go on Warrior, I guess. Crash in. I could wait to play this until I have another land in hand. And just get the immediate extra turn. Because that should certainly kill my opponent. That's kind of interesting. I think I'll do that. Yeah, I think I'll do that. Because that makes me better against, like, my opponent just drawing, like, a Swords of Plowshares or a Blast or something. Yep. Okay. Yeah, definitely feel good about the position I'm in. It starts to get a little weirder once my opponent has more mana and can start, like, untapping Retrofitter Foundry, but, like, we're not there right now. Down to 19. They'll make their Thopter again, main phase, I assume, because they've kept doing that for clock-based reasons. Yep. I'm going to stay the course and go for the, like, extra turn shenanigans. I also just feel like with my opponent at 1, these interactions are favoring me, both in terms of clock and in terms of, like, just general magic stuff. Gets weird if one of us draws, like, an Urza Saga in particular, but my opponent has used 3 of theirs already. Ooh. Oh, okay. Alright. Are you going to wasteland me? No. You are not. I'm just going to stay the course if they're not going to wasteland me then. Send in. So now they can do the untap Retrofitter Foundry and turn this into a 4/4. Okay, there it is. That's fine still. Okay. Okay, there's my land. Yep. I'll bash in. My opponent successfully blocks. I will make this doubly uncounterable. Play my big bad Minotaur. My opponent can draw 3. I play my land. Gives me an extra attack step. Yep. Oh, they have double Swords of Plowshares. Boo. Sure. Now my opponent is still at 1, and I have an uncounterable Goblin Rabblemaster next turn. Which is, like, definitely a pain in the butt in its own right. I'm also at 25 life, and my opponent has sub 3 minutes on their clock. I can also just, like, play uncounterable things that create more bodies. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana. Oh, this is also very good. Wow, what do I even junk? Is it just the Retrofitter Foundry? Or is it the Pithing Needle so that I can activate these Didgeridoos? I think it's a Retrofitter Foundry. Alright, so let's try to blow that up. Yep. This fetch land is not live. Alright. This is a warrior, so it will be uncounterable. If we get... Alright, we do get to go to combat and make a critter. Ugh. Oh, sorry about that. Absolutely straining absolutely straining my opponent's resources here. Oh, did you have a Swords of Plowshares and you just, like, moved to the wrong phase? Let me get that 1/1 because you're low on time and panicking. Maybe not. Or is that a prismatic ending? It's a prismatic ending. That's fine. I will make 2 uncounterable large creatures. Yeah, opponent is now sub 2 minutes. This one just kills my opponent this turn. Most of the time. I'm going to play the thing that's less mana efficient. Get in there. What a grind of a game. That was fantastic. GG's, opponent. They definitely are panicking in terms of clock. Like, they could have Swords of Plowshare that Goblin Rabblemaster instead of that token. But they are trying not to time out. Yeah, so they wasted a resource. Okay. That's fine. Like, I still just have this. Basically, unless my opponent draws, like, a Murktide Regent, that's absolutely huge. I'm just gonna be good here. Actually, let's play this Shadow Spear first. Then I'll play this, because then that works around days better. Alright, so now I have 2 lethal bodies next turn, and I can equip Shadow Spear here to make it larger than this thing. Now, notably, my opponent does still have 2 cards in hand. Or, sorry, 7 cards in hand. And a couple of dead fetch lands. That's... My opponent makes that attack. I'm going to snap off a block. Just smells like Murktide, and they're trying to get me dead next turn. Lightning Bolt themselves. Ragavan. Okay. This is Menace. Go for an equip here. I will give them Menace. And that is the kill. So my opponent did not time out, although they were pretty much there as well. What a slog, folks. That was an incredible match. Alright, my opening hand doesn't really have enough mana to cast all of my stuff. I can keep an opening hand that just, like, chalices on 1 on the draw, but, like, Chalice isn't just going to win this game by itself. And I think I'm going to like flounder around for a long time before I do anything else. I think I'm going to take a mulligan here. Whereas this hand is quite strong. I will be keeping this. I think I'm just going to pitch the mountain here. It's tough, and I could talk about that for a long time, but I don't think I'm going to. Could be playing against something like elves, or could be playing against like a crop rotation deck. Huh. Well, I guess I have a turn 1 play now. I'll Chrome Mox and pitch the Spirit Guide to it. And I think I'm just going to play the Great Furnace now. And loop this Chalice on 1 into play. Yeah, see, this is way better than the first Chalice hand I have because I actually have a turn 2 play and then some inevitability after that. If it looks like we're not playing against a blue deck, I will probably just lead on Urza's Saga next turn. Okay. Guess we're caverning. Forest plus Volcanic Island is a little weird. We could be playing against some sort of like Bant deck that just like has a random one of Volcanic Island for some sideboard cards. Regardless, I think I've got the time to do a turn on Warrior here. I don't necessarily think that my opponent is playing a Dazed deck, but I really don't know yet. This is a very weird land combo. Oh, opponent is stuck on lands. Opponent is stuck on lands. Yeah, this turn's gonna be good. So I will do another uncounterable Goblin Rabble Master. And now both of these trigger. Oh yeah. Now I just attack each turn. I don't even have to think about it. Goblins just go. This is 8 damage. Bringing my opponent to 11, and I get to get the Urza Saga started. My opponent is straight up just dead if they can't do anything else here. I have so much power in play. Yep, okay. So now I have to try to sideboard against Forest and Volcanic Island. I saw no fetch lands to help clue me in on colors. I saw no cantrips. I saw no counterspells. I saw literally nothing. And my opponent kept this hand. Did my opponent keep on 7? My opponent kept on a 6-card hand. What the fuck? Okay, what are they doing? Like, did I just play a Chalice and just completely crippled everything that they possibly had? Is that what happened here? Let's do the old MTG Goldfish and see if I can see what they have been playing. Nope, no results for this player. Do I run it back? I think I want a Relic of Progenitus over Curse Scroll. If my opponent is playing some sort of like Eurocentric strategy or a Life from the Loam based strategy, this will be a fine thing to be able to tutor for. I don't know that I'm going to board anything else because a lot of my other things are just narrow. We're going to play another game 1 essentially and try to get a feel for what's going on with my opponent. They also like led on basic forest over like Volcanic Island, so like that has me thinking like less days or brainstorm and stuff like that. Huh. I'm gonna keep this hand. I have a turn 1 Chalice of the Void and a turn 2 4-drop. This is great. Okay. And this fetches blue lands and it fetches forest, so I get it. Let's try to ram the Chalice down my opponent's throat again and see if they just die. Alright, it resolved. Okay. Am I just gonna get, like, Show and Telled? And, like, it's a sneak attack that has a basic forest for a Veil of Summer? I don't know, man. I don't know. This is a 6-drop, right? Yeah. Alright. There is my 5-drop. My 5/4 Trampler. My equivalent of Reality Smasher. Here it is. And it resolved. And my opponent is just dead again? Like they're missing on more land drops? Ice-Fang Coatl wouldn't have Death Touch if that's something that's going on in my opponent's deck. I mean, I'm going to attack in. And then from there, things get a little more complicated. So I have 1, 2, 3. This could be 4, 5, 6 mana. I think I'll go ahead and do that. Done. Loot those away. That would be really awkward if this got dazed, but for like landfall reasons, I definitely want to just play this. I think I'm going to go ahead and Chrome Mox and put this under it. Oh, okay. Well, now I see that my opponent is just F6'd. So that makes my life easier. Or maybe not F6'd, but close to it. Now I'll make landfall here. Alright, so I'll untap this. And now I'll crash in again. Opponent goes to 8. I will just loot this away. Another one of those, which I don't really need. You're just dead. I'm never going to get to figure out what your deck did. That's a sad match for my opponent if they go the entire match without casting a single spell. All right, we end up with the Brew Trophy of a 3-2. So I'm guessing my opponent there was like maybe playing some combo deck, and they were just always like just short of beating me. I don't know exactly. Overall thoughts on the deck? A little clunky around the edges, but not too bad. It feels like how do I say this? There is a very large delta between my hands. And by that I mean the hands that are good are extremely good and do some very broken stuff with extra combat phases. And the hands that are bad play out like very bad Moon Stompy hands. For a deck that has Didgeridoo in it, that's probably a win. Urza Saga, while sometimes being a little bit awkward in the early game, did give us a way to find these Didgeridoos and get some things that otherwise might have been stuck into our hands into play. There were some really neat things here, like Didgeridoo plus Sethron working against Caracas to like just create a bunch of Minotaurs. That was kind of interesting. I don't know that Curse Scroll should actually be in the deck. Like, I feel like there are other targets, like say a Retrofitter Foundry or even like a Game 1 Relic or something like that might be better there. But I was definitely happy to have the Shadow Spear to help stabilize after I take some early hits, and we did do a lot of damage to ourselves with Ancient Tomb over the course of this league. But this was a fun video, and I enjoyed playing it. There is probably room to polish up the sideboard a little bit, and maybe the main deck as well. But if you're looking to have some fun and use your Didgeridoos that otherwise were collecting dust, this is probably a great way to do it. If you're new here, please consider subscribing for Legacy Modern, and Vintage content on the regular, trying to get to 10,000 followers by the end of the year if I can. And if you're really enjoying what's going on, throw me a like, throw me a comment, throw me a donation deck list if you got something really spicy you want to see. Have a great rest of the day, folks. I'll see you around.